to a clinical cookout.
Hey y'all, Auntie Ashley, the Clinical Cookout here, and it is Friendly Neighborhood Therapist Friday. So I am going to wrap up our week on Cluster B personality disorders, which consist of antisocial, borderline, histrionic, and narcissistic personality disorders. Now, I really hope y'all watched the episode Wednesday and the content this week, because this was one of my personal favorite weeks and it was very educational. If you did not already know about the personality disorders, you definitely want to watch this. And I believe learning more about them helps us to be a little bit more empathetic, because you realize a lot of times this is genetic or trauma-based. So it is not necessarily this person's fault or the way that they want to be or chose to be. It is something that they cannot help, that something else caused, whether it's genetics, you can't control your genetics, or some trauma that you went through, which can help us really be a little bit more empathetic to it, instead of just saying, oh, this is a horrible person, which we tend to say a lot when it comes to narcissistic personality disorder. During the episode, it was up to me to talk about histrionic personality disorder. And that one is one of the harder ones. That is one of the ones that is hardest to diagnose. And it is not diagnosed a lot at all, as are none of the personality disorders. But I want to talk to y'all a little bit more about histrionic personality disorder, because I know that during the show, people were like, well, like, all of us are histrionic in a way, or everybody has exhibited some histrionic traits. Yes, but when we say exaggerated to the point of detriment, that is very much different. So let's get into it. All right, so first and foremost, let me reiterate that only about 9% of the general population is diagnosed with any personality disorder. And when it comes to histrionic, that is only 2 to 3% of the entire population. And it is seen 4 times more in women. Not to say it's not seen in men, it's just seen a lot more in women. However, I would be remiss if I did not mention that research suggests that the reason women are possibly overly diagnosed with histrionic personality disorder compared to men is because sexual forwardness is less socially acceptable for women. So you could have a woman who is confident in herself and able to shoot her shot and be forward and not be demure and modest. And some people will look at that like it's not okay, because that is not typical or supposed to be typical of a woman. So women tend to get the diagnosis more because us being sexually forward is just not okay in our culture and in our society. But every sexual forward woman is not histrionic. There is a lot more to it than that. Now, another thing, histrionic personality disorder tends to be egocentric, which means people with the disorder typically consider their behavior to be perfectly normal, and so they struggle to identify it as a problem. The lack of insight may contribute to the underdiagnosis of this personality disorder until later in life, once patterns of behavior have significantly interfered and impacted relationships, work, and interpersonal wellness. And that's the indicator. Remember, during the show, it was constantly reiterated that in order to be clinically diagnosed with any personality disorder, the symptoms have to interfere severely with your relationships, work life, interpersonal wellness. All the areas of your life are impacted by this in a negative way. On to more specifics about histrionic. This disorder used to actually be called dramatic personality disorder. And the reason why is because I don't care if you think of the most dramatic person you know in your life, they are not as dramatic as somebody with histrionic personality disorder. This is dramatics to the 100th power. This is dramatics to the point of it being embarrassing for the people around them. Okay. This is also exaggerated emotionality, exaggerated to the point of being embarrassing for people around them. This is that person who y'all could be at a family function or a friend's trip, and this is the person who will embarrass everybody out in public. Like, they don't care the setting. They are going to show those exaggerated emotions if they are upset, and that is specifically when they are not the center of attention. It is very hard for these people to allow anyone else to be the center of attention. So this is like, there was a thing going around on Facebook, I think it was, and it was this girl's birthday party, and she told her friends to dress up, and her one friend just went all out with her dress up, but she wasn't the birthday girl. So it was the question of, would you be okay if your friend outshined you at your own birthday as far as the dress goes? So people had all kind of different answers and responses for that. But here's the thing. No matter how we look at that, if you always have to do that. There's a difference between, you know how I dress, you know how I'm gonna dress up, so that means you got to step your game up. There's a difference between that and I have to be the center of attention even when the day is not about me. I have to make it about me. No matter what it is, the center of attention better be me, or I am going to be distraught. And when I say distraught, I mean this is the person who possibly gets overly drunk. So now everybody can shift focus to them. We got to take care of her. We got to take care of him. Forget what we were doing. We have to put focus on this person because they need us right now. So that's what I mean by exaggerated. The attention-seeking criteria is also the one that can be the most harmful, because these are the types of individuals who will feign sickness, threaten self-harm, do anything to get you to shift back to them, especially if you have shifted focus to something or someone else. Histrionic personality disorder is typically characterized as very flirtatious, very seductive, charming, manipulative, impulsive, and lively. This is the person who is not only the center of attention, but the life of the party. They're fun to be around. They are fun to be around when they are the center of attention and they are happy and they are in their element. So that person who y'all feel like if they come in, it's going to be lit. They exhibit that kind of charm, but they are also flirtatious and seductive to their own detriment, because they are flirtatious and seductive with people that they have no business being that way with. They are overtly sexual with people that they have no business being that way with, because they are that way with nearly everybody in their life, and they don't have clear boundaries of who is and is not okay to do that with. For example, now, this example I'm using, she did not have histrionic personality disorder, I don't think. But in the movie Eve's Bayou, Megan Good played the daughter of Samuel L. Jackson's character, right? She tried to seduce her own father. She had inappropriate feelings for her own father. That is what I'm talking about. Like, you should not ever have those thoughts about your father. You should never try to sexually seduce your father. That's not considered normal in any culture. However, that is a sign that someone might be dealing with histrionic personality disorder, because they are that way with everyone, even when it's not appropriate. They are that way with people that they are not even attracted to. They just need the attention, and they want to appear like they have power over people. They have power over men and over women, and everyone loves me. Everyone wants to be with me. Everyone finds me sexually attractive. Everyone wants that, and I am going to make sure that they come to me kind of seduction. Another thing to take note of is that histrionic personality disorder is often accompanied by an additional personality disorder. So it is very possible to have more than one personality disorder, for one individual to have more than one. Histrionic is often tied with another, typically narcissistic personality disorder or borderline personality disorder. So this is also why it's hard to diagnose, because you see the other symptoms maybe a little bit more, and all of the cluster Bs have to do with dramatics, exaggerated emotionality, etc. But there are stark differences when it comes to histrionic. And lastly, because histrionic disorder tends to run in families, this is one of the disorders that we see more that has a genetic element to it. When you have families that have more than one person with this particular disorder, family gatherings are often volatile, because imagine having multiple people who have to be the center of attention. You are going to have problems in that setting. And it's not that they can kind of step back and say, oh, I'll give it to them today. Like, they can have it. They have to be the center of attention. So for a family that has multiple people with this particular disorder, it can be really problematic and very volatile. All right, y'all. The aunties hope y'all learned a lot this week about cluster B personality disorders. Let us know if y'all want to do cluster A and C, because we are more than willing to. But y'all have a beautiful, wonderful rest of the day, and we will see y'all next week with a new theme.